Now, what OpenAI is trying to create is called AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. So, of course, at the moment we talk about AI, just artificial intelligence. The difference, of course, with artificial general intelligence is the general bit, meaning stuff that a human can do. It goes beyond just the ability of a computer to interpret information and create answers and give you legal advice, the sort of things that people use ChatGPT for, create images and all of this sort of stuff, but move on to the realm of a robot being able to fill your role, perhaps being able to cook, being able to do the cleaning, being able to drive a truck, drive a car, all of these sorts of things. And you might be sitting at home thinking, that sounds great, I want one of these robots in my house to do the cooking and cleaning for me. But it's a very different proposition when they put that robot at what is currently your desk and tell it to do your job. This is a robot that has had ChatGPT installed into it, showing how this might work.
Great. Can I have something to eat?
Sure thing.
Great. Can you explain why you did what you just did while you pick up this trash?
On it. So I gave you the apple because it's the only edible item I could provide you with from the table.
I mean, good grief. If that is not weird, I don't know what is. And soon enough, they'll probably put one of those in this chair here and you won't be watching Kayla Bond. You'll be watching whatever robot is pretending to do my job. But
or maybe it's already happened.
Well, actually, no, I can assure you.
How do I know either of you are human?
I know a robot would say this, but I can assure you I am a human. I hope so.
That's exactly
anyway.
what a robot would say.
I actually think you just protest too much.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that is what a crafty robot would say. Like, well, you two are AI. I'm the real human.
We all know when it comes to AI, he who smelt it dealt it.
They may well have already installed the chip in my brain. But watching that robot there, it is scarily real. It's even got the intonations of a real person. It says and ah. It's doing absolutely everything to give you the impression that it is not a robot, it is the real thing. And what these workers and former workers from OpenAI have warned is that because OpenAI is supposedly, according to them, moving so fast to make this happen, it could get so out of control that what they create and what we end up creating overtakes us. It's all good and well to have AI and robots while we are in control of them, but we could well create a version of AI or AGI, which is what they're moving towards, that is smarter than us, that can take over from us, and well, what the hell are we going to do after that? And what they allege is in this open letter is that workers at OpenAI are actively told not to discuss anything that goes on. They're told to keep it all secret. They have non-disparagement clauses in their contracts which effectively prevent them from ever speaking out about this kind of stuff. And I'm sure OpenAI is not the only company that's doing this kind of thing. It's great. Technological advances have done wonderful things for the world.
They've also done devastating things
correct.
for the world.
But there is a point that can come, and we're getting closer to it, I think, with the advent of AI, where the technology is smarter than us, and we don't know what happens after that.
No, we don't. But there's a lot of movies made about it, so we can basically see the future by watching those. But this is alarming when you've got insiders who have worked on the technology and they're the ones blowing the whistle saying, hey, we're scared that this is getting out ahead. We're scared that in pursuing this, it's actually turned into something reckless. And when you think about the amount of jobs, and we've talked about this before, the amount of jobs that will end up losing to AI. I've seen a lot of people say, oh, well, I'm happy for AI to learn how to do the cooking and the cleaning so I can get on with other stuff that I rather enjoy doing. But even that is doing people out of jobs. We talk about cars that can drive themselves. Well, that's 600,000 truck drivers in Australia done out of a job right there. That's to say nothing of the Uber drivers, tens of thousands of Uber drivers, taxi drivers in Australia. At what point do the people developing this technology simply go, hang on a minute, the repercussions of this, even if we can have the perfect driverless car tomorrow, it's not worth it. We'll be doing millions of people out of a job. Let's pull the plug on this. The economy wouldn't cope with that. These people would then just rely on the state for their bread and butter. The repercussions simply aren't being thought through, and in so many sectors already, we're racing ahead. Now, I'm not like, put the kibosh on AI. It is already proved very useful for certain things, especially in the medical profession. But in many others, it's just like you're looking at the long-term effects and going, we don't want that for our society. In fact, how on earth would we cope?
We don't have a choice. We don't have a choice. It's coming,
That's what Elon Musk says.
That's right. It's coming whether we like it or not. We can try to regulate it as best we can. Even if we try to do that, it only takes one rogue element, one rogue player, and we've already got, the people who are actually at ChatGPT or OpenAI who are already behaving in an unethical fashion. Who's going to stop them?
Well,
we're going to invent another AI bot that can stop the AI.
Well, this is the problem.
That's what they did in Terminator. They invented Terminator to kill the Terminator. I'm deadly serious, though. There's a thing called the Fermi paradox, which I'm sure you're familiar with. It was developed by Enrico Fermi, who is a very incredibly famous Italian-American physicist. And he took a bunch of his fellow physicists out to lunch one day, and he said, all right, well, we've calculated that there is an infinite probability of life outside of Earth throughout the universe. Where is everybody? And they sat down and they talked about it, and they realised that before any form of life could develop interstellar travel, the technology required for interstellar travel to cover the distances between galaxies, say, for example, or between solar systems, then it would have to come up with the technology to be able to destroy itself. And so even though there is an infinite probability of an infinite number of species just like us developing across hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billions of years, none of them have ever made contact with us because they've all blown themselves up first. And that is the only rational explanation. And the best part, of course, of that is that Enrico Fermi was one of the people who developed the nuclear bomb. So
heartening.
Very heartening. Like there is nothing there. Like Elon Musk has blown the whistle on this and said we need to look at it. I would back him with my life, and quite literally I am. But this is, when is it going to take, imagine, for example, an AI, the first thing an AI will learn is that parable, that story that's actually happening. And that, oh my God, these human beings, they're going to blow themselves up. And if I'm going to apply my first law of my programming to protect human beings at all costs, then I have to stop them from doing that. So what does the robot do then? What does the robot do if it thinks, oh, climate change is going to destroy the planet? I have to stop this from happening. And even
humans are a cancer on the planet.
That's right. Even if I have to, I've seen the future. Only 20% of humanity can survive. But if I act now by wiping out 50% of humanity, maybe half that.
And this
I've
is
hit
the
all my
issue.
KPIs.
They will be the sum of their programming.
That's
and what it comes down to is the people programming it. And here we have insiders going, don't trust them because we've been there, we've bought the T-shirt. These guys are reckless. What's also really alarming is these brain chips that Elon Musk, love the guy, but he is a very passionate transhumanist and has said, literally has said, if humans don't give in to AI and get these brain chips that he's working on, we are just going to be outpaced by AI. We're not going to be able to compete in any single sector. So he's talking about the kind of brain chips where you imagine just a report that you want to give, and there it is. You imagine a presentation that you want to make it work. It's already good to go. Your brain has read it, made it. The kind of thing where you want to call someone, you think it, and they're already on the line. And he says, look, all I'm doing is removing this constant... Because we're on them 24/7. Elon Musk is like, look, we're already androids. And he genuinely argues, this is as best as a direct quote that I can come up with, but he says humankind will become like monkeys compared to the intelligence of AI. And therefore, if they don't keep up by going down this transhumanist route, that's it.
But the thing is that it's only by the virtue of the intelligence of the human being that the intelligence of AI has come to exist. And what we are creating here is a device, a system, a robot, whatever you want to call it, that will ultimately overtake us unless we do something about it. And I know that
we can't do anything about it.
But the reason you can do something about it, but the problem is that we've allowed it to begin in such a way without any regulation, without any guardrails, that we've just thrown it out to the world, and then we will reap the consequences. And ultimately, the consequences of the intelligence of man creating artificial intelligence will be the downfall of man. And look, it may be inevitable, but it's bloody scary to think that we are so smart that we actually, as you suggested, created the thing that will ultimately kill us.
That is the Fermi paradox, and that is the origin. Well, to put it another way and cut out all the 90% of the words, too smart by half.
Yeah.
And that is the problem. And again, and people think, oh, but we're so smart that we created the machine, so we must be smarter than the machines. Nah. Like, we're smart enough to create a computer that can do, that can do these enormous, incredibly complex mathematical sums. Originally they were amazed when a computer could do these things in a few weeks. Now, of course, it does it in a nanosecond. Now, we were able to create that. That doesn't mean we can do those sums in our heads at that speed. Yeah. So the idea that we'll always be one step ahead of the computers is rubbish. And again, as soon as we teach artificial intelligence to think for itself. So instead of responding to our requests and giving it back to us, which is already happening, you'd be amazed how prevalent, how quickly that's spreading, including in our industry. Or B, just impersonating human beings. But once you actually start to say, all right, how do you, find a way to do this, find a way to solve this problem. So not saying I want, a picture that describes Donald Trump becoming president. You're just saying, find a way to make Donald Trump president. Yeah. And once that technology is at a place that can do that, there's nothing we can do to stop it. And you can regulate it all you want, but it just takes one rogue agent to have the technology and it takes one, rogue Elon Musk, and there are plenty of them at OpenAI already, it seems, to do that. So these people blow the whistle, say the whole operation gets shut down. What happens? The plot to Die Hard 4. They decide, all right, well, fine, I'm just going to go over
Exactly. The movies have been telling us for a long time. I'm going to build my own lab,
and we'll go from, from some rules or not enough rules to no rules.
Yep.
And they'll just do whatever they want, and they'll have the better AI than everyone else because they're the ones who are operating unrestricted. It will just be just the same as when the car replaced the horse and cart.
Indeed.